Duren's probably going to have to play more than the Pistons want him to. And he looks like the greatest athlete of all time. Like, I saw him at the preseason game the other night, and the tickets were free. The Pistons were obviously trying to sell out LCA, so they were pretty good seats that they gave us. And he just looks massive. He looks like, if you looked at him, it's the best athlete ever. He should win every Olympic event that there is. But he's still 18, 19 years old. Like, he's not going to come in right away. Same thing with Jaden Ivey. He's not going to come in right away and be this all-star center. And he's probably going to make a lot of rookie mistakes. He's going to have a lot of a big learning curve. So, you're going to rely on him again, even the other young guys that you're relying on, Isaiah Livers, and really just anybody that is coming off the bench. Jaden Ivey. These aren't guys who are going to have small roles, but on a good team, they probably do have smaller roles than what they have on the Pistons.
Yeah, and what I'm looking forward to seeing is the dynamic between Cade and Ivey, because you're talking about two drastically different players. Cade is methodical. He's a little bit slower with his movement. He's not going to blow by you with a burst of speed. Ivey's got a first step you can't teach. And so blowing by is not going to be his problem. His problem is going to be keeping it under control and not being too erratic. He's got that. He's been compared to Westbrook. He's being compared to Morant as far as his vert is concerned. He's got all of this raw athleticism that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And it produced pretty well at Purdue, where he averaged over 17 points per game. He's going to be going up against bigger and stronger bodies that he's going to be running into, and he's got to learn to control what he can and get to the rim when he can. His shot has not been great so far in his college career. I wouldn't expect it to be great, obviously, as a rookie either, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see what he brings to the table working along with Cade, because they really do work at different speeds, but I think it could be a lot of fun to see. Duren's going to be, it looks like, thrust into a role that I don't think he's quite ready for. It's exciting to see, but I thought Nerlens Noel was going to be the guy anchoring the defense as far as the center position is concerned. Obviously, in Bagley, with Bagley going down, Noel hasn't been available either, it seems, for the most part, since coming to the Pistons. And then you talk about what Beef Stew's been working on as being not so much a center, but one of those stretch fours. He's working on a three-point shot, and it looks like it's been better throughout the offseason. And then you look at a guy like Isaiah Livers, who's that 3-and-D just prototype build that he's shown flashes of, and we need to see more of, obviously, this year. And that's one of the big things. We've talked about it for years. It's one of the big problems the Pistons have had for a long time, which is just shooting in general, but especially outside shooting. When Cade is one of your guys shooting the most threes, and he's at 31%. Saddiq Bey was the team leader in three-point attempts last season, and he was shooting under 35%. And not only that, but he was shooting most of his shots from where he's not as good at shooting the three. Apparently, he's much better shooting in the corner. Most people are. It's a shorter three, but he wasn't getting those opportunities. So I'm hoping that we're going to see more opportunities for the shooters to knock down threes. Obviously bringing in a guy like Bogdanovic, obviously bringing in a guy like Burks. These are two guys that have been shown for a long time now to be able to hit the outside shot. And so we should be able to take advantage of that more as long as the offense is flowing more. You're diving inside, kicking out, all of that stuff. Cade obviously has great court vision, and he'll be able to find you. But we need that. This is the growth we want to see. We want to see these guys take that next step offensively, where shots are being knocked down from deep, from inside the paint as well, obviously, or inside the arc, so that we're seeing more shooting ability from a Pistons offense, again, that was ranked 28th last season, 29th in three-point percentage. So they really can't go down, not much anyway. So you would think they can go up, and with the talent that's been added, you would think that it's going to go up a little bit easier. I'm curious to see what happens with Bogdanovic. Are we keeping him the whole season? Is this a guy we're going to see traded at the deadline for draft capital, as we are still building a team and he's a little bit older? But I'm excited for him to be on the Pistons, at least for the first half of the NBA season, to see what he brings to the table and helps spread the offense with the shooting ability of the Pistons that has been lacking for so many years. Seeing it be better this year, I am expecting that.
With Bagley, with even Boyan, it's interesting because Duren was a guy who, at least as of like yesterday, was leading the preseason in rebounds. And again, I still don't think he's ready for a big-time role. But with Bagley going down, you're right, they want to get Isaiah Stewart more work at the 4 position. So that really only leaves you with the 2 centers on your roster with Nerlens and Duren. And obviously, Stewart is going to rotate to center now and probably run Sadiq or Boyan at the power forward and going with one of the 3 guard lineups that they could use when they have Cade, Killian, and Ivey in there, or even like they're doing now, right? Cade, Ivey, and Sadiq. Cade, Killian, and Sadiq. Like, I'm sure we're going to see just a combination of those 3 guys pretty much all year. And then as far as Boyan goes, he's a guy who the Jazz wanted to get a first-round pick for, and if he comes to Detroit and he's hitting 42% of his threes and he's taking, I don't know, 5 a game or something, yeah, it's a guy that teams are going to want. And I think the arms race is going to be a little bit different this year because I think teams are going to tank more than they ever have before for Wembanyama, and we're already seeing teams tank now, right? The Jazz, the Pacers, the Spurs, teams that we alluded to earlier. But when some of these teams are out of contention by the trade deadline, maybe that's when you see Portland have a fire sale. Not that you're going to trade Boyan to one of those teams, but what that's going to cause is now the Clippers are really loaded up at the deadline, even more so than they could before. So now the Warriors got to respond with something. And if they swing and miss on some big fish or whatever, just come grab Boyan from the Pistons, or the Bucks grab Boyan, or just whatever the case is that ends up happening. I think it's interesting. I certainly don't think this is going to be the roster that the Pistons have all season. Obviously, they're going to make trades. They brought in Kevin Knox, too, to see if they can reclaim something that he obviously was never able to show in New York. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't think we're seeing any of the core pieces move. Killian, maybe. But his stock's super low right now, so it wouldn't make sense to trade him anyway. He'd have to really show that he can be a facilitator on the team, whether in a backup or a starting role. And if he shows that, then you're not going to want to trade him. So I don't really see a scenario where the Pistons are giving up in Isaiah Stewart or a Killian Hayes or a Sadiq Bey or whatever. Certainly not Cade and Jaden Ivey. That seems like that's pretty much off the table. So I would look at some of the older vet guys, being like a Corey Joseph, but who the hell wants Corey Joseph? But Joseph, Bogdanovich, Noel, players like those that I could see the Pistons give up. And they still have Kemba Walker on their team for some weird reason, and he's not accepting the buyout the Pistons are giving him. So maybe there's some trade possibility there, even if they don't get a second-round pick for 3 years or something. I don't exactly know what's going to happen with that. But any of the trades the Pistons do make, I doubt it will be for some type of big fish, and I doubt you'll see any of the moves the Pistons make really shake up the core of what they're trying to build.
Hey, Ryan Griffin here. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Griffin and Bass. Be sure to give us your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to click the bell to receive the latest notifications from DSN, and subscribe for breaking news, community blogs, polls, contests, and other content.